If you want to build a website and you're not really sure where to start, I'm going to make it super simple for you and show you how you can get started making a website in Squarespace. This video is not sponsored, by the way. I just genuinely think that Squarespace is the best platform for beginners getting started with a new website right now. There are new web builder platforms coming out every day. My opinion on this could change next week, who knows? But as of right now, I think Squarespace is still the best one. If you somehow don't know what Squarespace is, it is a platform that lets you easily build your own website, and then it also hosts the website for you for a monthly or annual fee. If you've heard that there are free options for building a website like WordPress, that's true, but you still have to pay for web hosting and you also have to buy a domain. But all of that is included in a Squarespace plan, which makes it super simple for people who have never made a website before and don't really know what they're doing. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can get started building a website in Squarespace. I'm gonna go over the 3 different options they give you for starting a website, and I'm gonna show you at the end how you can change your colors and fonts to match your brand. This video is gonna be part of a series of videos where I go over in detail how to use Squarespace. So if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. So with all that being said, let's just jump right into Squarespace. So we're gonna start on the Squarespace homepage. You can choose either of these get started buttons. It's gonna take you to this page where it asks you what your site is about. You can skip this if you want. This is just gonna give them a starting point for what templates to show you in the next step. So I'm gonna be working on a website for a fictional nonprofit organization just for demonstration purposes. So I'm gonna choose nonprofit and then click next. Then it's gonna ask you what your top goals are for the website. This is not really important because we're gonna be able to change all this later, so just choose whatever and then click next. So then it's gonna take you to this screen where you get 2 options for how to start your website. There are actually 3 options for starting a Squarespace website right now. The third one though is hidden, so I'll provide a link to that one. You can either start with a template or you can build your own template. And then the third option is actually gonna be just start with a blank template, like completely blank slate. I would recommend that route if you have prior design experience or you really want to do everything yourself, like from scratch. But for everyone else, I would say one of these 2 options would be better. So if you have like no design experience whatsoever and you just want the easiest, quickest way to start a website, I would recommend choosing a template that they've made for you. Otherwise, if you want to have more control over what goes on each page and which pages are included initially in the template, then you can build your own template. No matter which option you go with, you're gonna be able to customize everything from the colors and fonts to the actual pages. You can remove stuff if they've added things that you don't want. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose. It just depends on how much help you want getting started. So if I start with a template, so now this page is going to show you all the templates they have available. I had chosen that I'm making a website for a nonprofit, so they have already selected community and nonprofits here for me. You can also just choose to see popular designs or all templates to see them all. You can change all the colors and the fonts for whichever one you choose and tailor it to your business. So just choose the one that you feel most drawn to or that you feel represents your brand the best. I really like this one. I think it's really cool. I'm gonna actually start with this one. Once you choose one, you can kind of scroll through and get a preview of what the homepage is gonna look like. And you can also view a full demo site if you're so inclined. I think this one has a good starting structure with what I want for a nonprofit website, and then you can go ahead and choose some colors, but you'll be able to customize all the colors later on. This is just to kind of get started. So I'm going to start with that. So then it's going to ask you for the name of your website or your business. I'm going to call the name of this fictional business Bright Future. Okay, so I'll just close that. So now this is our website. It's this template. We can go in and change images and change text and start editing. And you can see that they've created all of these pages for us. This template actually has a sub menu with multiple pages underneath a parent menu. Maybe some of these pages don't apply to us, so we can go in and delete them. We can go through and delete entire sections. You can see down here you'll have 14 days of a free trial to kind of play around with this website. Right now this site is not live. It won't be live until you start paying for it, and then at that point you can choose your own URL and do all that stuff in the settings. Now I'm going to go back and show you what it looks like if you choose to build your own template. So if you go back to the home menu and then look at the bottom and click on your username right here, it'll take you to your Squarespace dashboard. You can make any number of like free websites in Squarespace and not pay for them, just to kind of test things out and play around with it. And from here we can click on the create website button. It's going to take us back to this template page, and we can just click this button over here that says build your own template. If you're starting from the beginning and you don't have a Squarespace account yet, you would choose the button build a custom website with Squarespace Blueprint AI, and that's going to take you to the same path that we're on now. Okay, so now we can go through this process of building our own template. So now we get to choose which sections we want on the homepage. They've already gone through and chosen a few sections for us. I'm gonna remove the product section because I'm building a nonprofit website and they don't have any products to sell. And I'll keep the services section because that could be like a programs section for a nonprofit. I'll also include an about section and maybe a contact form. And then what you can do is go through each of these sections and choose a layout for that section. So this is like the intro section, the top hero section, and we can kind of go through some of these other options to see what they have available. I think I'm gonna go with this option. After we go through all this, we're gonna be able to go in and edit all of these ourselves too. This just gives us like a starting point. So I'm just gonna start with that. Then we get to choose which pages we want to add to our site. I'm gonna deselect shop, and I don't need appointments or courses. I'm gonna just go with that. So now we can choose a color palette to start with. Again, we're gonna be able to change all of this. This is just to kind of get us started. So I'll go with this one. And now we can choose some fonts. I'm gonna just choose Work Sans, I think looks good. Okay. So it's gonna build that template for us. Now it's gonna try to get us to use AI to build out our brand, I think. I don't really like their AI feature, to be honest, so I'm gonna just skip over that. So now we have this template that we can go in and update. Before I get more into this, I'm gonna show you the third option of starting a website, which is to start with a completely blank slate. This is the option that I usually go with because I like to design all of my websites in another program called Figma. Figma is a lot easier for me to kind of brainstorm ideas and quickly iterate on new ideas. So I like to kind of play around in Figma as like a sandbox area first. And then once I have a good idea of what I want the homepage to look like in Figma, and I've shared those designs with the client and they've provided me with their feedback, then I'll take that design and use it as a guide to start building it out in Squarespace from scratch. So this option to start with a completely blank, empty template is really great for designers and people that have prior design experience. And so maybe that's why it's kind of hidden from the general public. If you recall, we did not see that option to start with a completely blank template anywhere on their website, but I have it in my dashboard. Let me show you. So this is my account dashboard, and you see there's this little caret icon next to the create website button. It gives me the three options right here. Start with a Squarespace template, build your own template, or start with a blank template. And we don't see that with a new account. Squarespace has a community of professional Squarespace designers called Circle, and I'm a member of Circle. Maybe this option is only available if you're a member of Circle. That's my theory. I think it's more for designers, so they keep it hidden unless you're a designer. But you don't have to be a member of Circle to use this template if you have the link. And I'll share the link in the description below. You can click on that and that will take you here. So we can click on start with this design. Once again, enter the name for our website. And here we are. We have a completely empty website. No pages, no sections, nothing. So then we can click on this little plus icon to create a new page. We still have access to all of Squarespace's pre-made page layouts, or we have the option also to start with a blank page. But let's go with page layouts for now. And we have all of these different pages to choose from. So if we click on about, all of these layouts are kind of tailored to an about page. This is a great way to get ideas. If you're not really sure where to get started with a page, you can start with one of these layouts. I'm gonna go ahead and choose one of these options, and then we just have to name the page, and now it's gonna build out that page template for us. If instead we start with an empty page, like the home page is an empty page right now, then we can go into edit mode by clicking on this edit button right here, and we can start adding sections to the page. If we click the add section button, we get a very similar pop-up that has page sections. Instead of entire pages, it just has page sections. And we can choose from all of these different pre-made page sections to start building out this empty page. Or we also have the option to add a blank section, and that will give us this blank slate that we can then start adding elements to and start designing it however we want. I'm not going to go into the details of how to edit in Squarespace right now, but I will be making a video on that in the future. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. So no matter which of the options you go with, probably one of the first things you're going to want to do is change the colors and the fonts. So let me just show you quickly how to do that. If you click on this button up here in the top right, the little paintbrush icon, this will take you to the site styles menu. This is where you can change your fonts and your colors and your button styles. So let's go into the colors menu. Okay, so this up here is your color palette. These are the 5 colors that you get to use on your website. You get to use other colors too if you want, but these are the 5 that you should stick with. In addition to a color palette, you have color themes. So a page in Squarespace is split up into different sections, and each of those sections in the page can have its own color theme. So for example, in this page, the top section has the color theme called Bright 2. All the rest of these sections on this page have the theme Light 1. You can't change the name of these themes, unfortunately, but you can change the colors that are included in the theme. For example, we have a heading, we have an extra large heading here that we can change the color of within this theme setting. The styles that are shown here are only the ones that are applicable to this section that I clicked on, right? I clicked on this section and it kind of had a blue outline. And so it's only showing the styles that are applicable to that section. So if I want to see the styles for the entire theme, I can click on the show all button up here. You can change all of these color styles for all the different types of text, all the different buttons. I would say don't try to change everything in every theme to match with your color palette, because that's going to take you forever, and a lot of these things won't even be applicable to you because you won't be using them on your website. I think they give you way too many different themes, and it would be best for you to try to stick to just a few of the themes throughout your whole website, because otherwise it gets really complicated. So let's say we want to change the colors themselves. There is kind of a method to doing this. I just recently learned about this. This middle color here is going to be your accent color. It's going to be the one that kind of like pops out. These colors over here on the left side are going to be your lightest colors. The top one is the lightest color. The second one should be like your second lightest color. And then the ones on the side here are going to be your darkest colors. The one at the bottom is your darkest, and then the one at the top is the second darkest. So keep that in mind when you go and change these colors. If you just go in and replace these willy-nilly, like you replace the lightest color with a dark color and then you replace the darkest color with a light color, your themes are going to be all out of whack. Each of these themes is kind of built assuming that your colors are going to follow that scheme that I just told you about. Of course, you can go in and change them completely to be however you want. It's just very time consuming and tedious to go through every style in all of these different themes. So I would suggest kind of sticking to the color scheme that I just showed you. After you match up all the colors to your brand colors, you might want to also change the fonts. So if we go back into site styles and then click on the fonts button, we can choose a font pack. Squarespace has gone through and matched up different fonts that look well together. So you have a heading font, a paragraph font, and a link font. And they have different options up here. They have sans serif, serif. So serif fonts look a little more elegant, I think. And then there's mixed. So there can be a mix of both. But if you don't see one that you really like, then you can go back and edit them yourself. These are the different heading settings that we can change. So you can change the font family up here, and they're also split up by serif and sans serif. You can change the line height, the letter spacing, and you can make them all uppercase or lowercase if you want. And then you can change the individual sizes for each of the different headings. Heading 1 should be the biggest, all the way down to heading 4, which is the smallest. So let's just move on to paragraphs. I'm going to change the letter spacing and the line height a little bit. You have headings, you have paragraphs, you have buttons, and then you have the miscellaneous styles. So if you go to assign styles, these are all the different text areas on your website that you can assign specific font styles to. So for example, we can assign the font style to use for the site title, which is this right here. I'm not using a logo image right now, I'm using just text. So we can assign the font style. Right now it's just assigned to the heading style, but we can change it to custom, and then we can go in and like actually change the font for that specific element on the website. Here is where we change the text to use on the buttons, the shape and the outline, but not the actual colors. If you want to change the colors For the buttons, that would be in the colors section, right? Because it would depend on which theme you're using for that particular section. In site styles, you can also choose the style for the different forms on your website, like contact forms. If you click on accessories down here, this is where you can choose the global animation style for your website. So yeah, that's how you can get started making a website in Squarespace, choosing between the different template options and changing the site styles. In my next video, I'm going to be going through edit mode in Squarespace. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when that video comes out. While you're down there, make sure you give this video a like if you found it helpful at all. If this is all a little too overwhelming for you and you would rather hire a professional to do it for you, feel free to contact me because I am a professional and I would love to design your website. I'm going to leave that link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!